What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lighthouse Health and Performance. My name is Hamza. I know it's been a minute. Just had to kind of take care of a lot of other stuff. I broke a washing machine earlier, so I had to clean my clothes. I'm a student right now, so I had to make sure I didn't fall behind too much. But we're rolling now. Lots of things coming up. I think February is going to be a really big month. Programs are going to start rolling out. I hope to have the website ready by then. And yeah, we're going to keep rolling. So today, I really wanted to kind of talk about nutrition. I think the last Instagram post I made about was nutrition, and the caption was "Eat from the Earth." And to kind of elaborate on that a little bit, what I'm going to focus on is now eating natural whole foods. So eliminating processed products like, it's gonna be tough, but rice, pasta, bread, things like that. Either eliminating or minimizing is definitely gonna help. You know what I mean? And then obviously chips, ice cream, all the stuff that you know you shouldn't be eating. I'm gonna try to eliminate that, and keeping the nutrition stuff pretty simple, and making sure all my meals have some kind of protein, some kind of veggie, and my carb of choice is gonna be potatoes. I'm not really a sweet potato fan, but you know, everyone says they're the healthier option between the two. But right now I'm going with just regular potatoes, you know, baby steps. So the goal is gonna be, a typical day of eating for me would be eggs, spinach, and potatoes for breakfast. Followed by a fruit, maybe a banana or an orange, you know, whatever your preference is. And then from there, for lunch, I'll have some chicken, beef, or fish, with some potatoes and something like spinach or broccoli or asparagus. For me, probably just spinach or broccoli. And then another fruit throughout the day. And then for dinner, chicken, spinach, broccoli, maybe beef or fish, you know. Also, just because of my personal goals, I'll probably throw in maybe a protein shake or two. But again, I only recommend those kinds of things when your whole foods are being accounted for. If you get in 3 whole meals, then you can go into a shake for supplemental reasons. You know what I mean? A lot of people use the shakes as a replacement, and that's not the way to go about it. It's going to be incomplete. Your nutrients and stuff will be incomplete on the day. So that was the big part of it. People ask me about nutrition, meal plans, and things like that. I'm still learning how to cook, so I can't really give you meal ideas and stuff like that. Right now, I'm not necessarily cooking for like gourmet purposes and stuff like that. I'm just cooking to survive. So I'm keeping it pretty simple: potatoes, chicken, beef, fish. You know, just know what you're looking for in your meals. You know what I mean? So vegetables, protein, and a carb like potatoes. Like I said, I'm taking out refined products like pasta, bread, and rice, and obviously the snacks and things like that. One thing I do want to make mention of is, it's not a set in stone, hard as a rock process. You know what I mean? You're gonna have days where you ate everything you're supposed to eat, you met all your numbers and things like that, and then one day you have a cookie. You know, that's what I do. You know, sometimes I crash and I'll have some cookies. You know what I mean? But the thing is, you want to string together as many good days as you can. That's why this is a journey. You can't necessarily be obsessed with the end result, because when you get, like, say you do 10 weeks, right? And at the end of 10 weeks, you want to look a certain way, you want to be a certain way, right? But 10 weeks later, if you don't get the results you want, then boom, you feel like the process was wasted. So if you take the outcome out of it and you appreciate the process and you appreciate developing those lifestyle changing habits, then you'll reap more benefit than just your outcome. You know what I mean? You'll develop habits that you could take into a long-term lifestyle changes. You know what I mean? So that's the important part. Not the outcome result, what you think you're gonna look like, how much you think you're gonna weigh, and all these other things. It's just developing those habits. Okay, so that's really something I wanted to make mention of. So with that said, in that 10-week process, the goal is to string together as many good days in a row, right? You are what you repeatedly do. So if you consistently bullshit, your results will be bullshit. But if you're consistently disciplined, if you're consistent on your eating and things like that, and you're consistent in your training, your results will yield that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna lie to you. I think this is the most self-loving process there could be. You know what I mean? Like, because you know, and only you can hold yourself accountable to these kinds of things that, oh, I shouldn't be eating this, but I'm gonna fold and grab one. And I'm not saying to beat yourself up when you have situations where I eat a cookie, you know what I'm saying? It's just, okay, I had my little fallback. Let me get back on track and keep it rolling. You know what I mean? You don't want to let that one bad, or not even bad, you know what I'm saying? That one step back become a habit. You know, you're trying to develop as many good steps into habits. You feel me? So kind of be mindful of that. Don't necessarily let one bad day become a monumental breakdown. You know what I mean? Don't let it snowball into undoing all your hard work. You work way too hard to let the weekend unravel it. You know what I mean? Honestly, you know, nutrition is probably 80% of the battle. And so once that kind of gets under control, everything else kind of falls into place. You know, people always say you can't out-train a bad diet, and that's absolutely certain. You know what I mean? Now, the whole goal is to be healthier. You know what I mean? If you're active, that's great. But that's only a part of the process. You know what I mean? Just limit those bad snacks. And you know what it is. It might be your can of Coke. You know, limit it. It might be cookies. Take it out. You know, limit it. Ice cream. You know, you gotta take it out. And that sucks for me because I love ice cream. There was a couple questions about getting started. And so the best thing I could say, if this is your first step into your journey, man, or woman, people, y'all, just make your way there. Get to the gym. That's half the battle. Right? I'm not telling you just show up and then waste your time and stuff. Nah, but like, get there. That's half the battle. Get there consistently. They say, what time of day should I work out? You should work out. You should train. You should train whenever you can consistently do it. If you're going to go 5 a.m. one day, 8 p.m. the next day, 10 a.m. next day, it's going to be impossible to sustain that. You know what I mean? There's strength in routine. So whenever you can consistently go is when you should go. All right? You should be training at the very least 3 times a week, man. If you really, woman, y'all, if you really want to see changes, 3 times a week. And you got to really buy in, right? It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a month. You know, maybe 3 months in, you'll start seeing results. People around you start seeing results. Your clothes start feeling different and stuff. But you just got to keep rolling, keep rolling. Pat yourself on the back, reward yourself, and keep rolling. If you're a beginner in terms of training, you know, I would start with compound movements, right? Multi-joint movements, typical stuff. You've heard it all before. The squat, bench, the deadlift. And none of these are inherently bad for anybody to do. If you do anything with bad form, that's going to lead to injury and things like that. So the loading is really appropriate. Form is probably the most important thing. So you want to learn the techniques of these before you begin to load them up. You know what I mean? And I think we talked about it a little bit before, but in everything you do, you want to have big superhero chest, shoulders pinned back, abs engaged. You know, going into a squat, going into a deadlift, going into a bench press, bicep curls, tricep, whatever the exercise is. Big, strong superhero chest, roll those shoulders back, engage your scapula, and then go to work. Keep your core tight and go to work. That's bracing is half the battle, okay? You'll notice you'll be more engaged. Your muscle-mind connection will be more in tune. All those things are important, okay? So like I said, 3 days a week, maybe have 1 day focused on that squat mechanic, and maybe 1 day focused on some kind of pressing, vertical or flat, and then some kind of hinging. So if you've heard it before, there's a couple of movement patterns that are just primal in nature, like the squat, hinge, push, pull, lunge, twist, and carry. You know what I mean? Those are kind of the general accepted movement patterns. So you want to train those patterns 2 to 3 times a week. You know what I mean? And when you're just getting started, you know, it's all about building small habits, right? So how to start training. Okay, like I said, first thing, consistently show up. Second thing, have a good routine. You know, fall in love with the routine. You know, there's strength in routine. Be stoic in your routine. Don't let, oh, it's raining, oh, it's cold outside, oh, it's dark. Woo. Don't let excuses get in the way of your stoicism, right? Be stoic in your routine. The third piece of advice I could give in that regard is make sure it's deliberate, right? Any successful person, you could go from like something as extreme as Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, to something like the teacher of the year. You know what I mean? Those kinds of successes are deliberate. Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, Tom Brady. Who else did I say? I don't know who else I said, but they didn't get that way on accident. You know what I mean? Muhammad Ali. They didn't get that way on accident. Everything they did was deliberate. Teacher of the year, maybe not had the goal to be teacher of the year, but their lesson plans, the way they went about their class sessions and things like that were deliberate, right? So when you go into train, it has to be deliberate training. Every rep should be a good rep, right? You don't, if someone says you got to do 3 sets of 10, you have 30 reps to do something. Make those 30 reps count. So consistency, routine, deliberate intent. That's how you get started. If you have questions regarding programming, go ahead and message me and we could talk about programming. One of the questions was how to stay motivated. And that one's interesting to me because I don't necessarily believe in motivation, because motivation comes and goes. It comes in waves, right? And when we're talking about being stoic in our routine, we can't let our motivation turbulence, affect our routine. So the first day one, you might jump out of bed, I'm ready to go, right? Day two, you might jump out of bed, I'm ready to go. But then as you start training and all that starts building up and catching up to you, shoot, day 6, you're probably like, man, do I have to go today? I'm not really feeling it. Let me just stay asleep. Ooh. Those are the days where you got to get your ass out of bed and make sure you go, all right? Because those, especially early on, those days are what ruin your momentum. And those days have the snowball effect of a downward trend. You know what I'm saying? So you got to really, really, it's an internal battle, bro. Every time that voice inside of your head tells you to go against what you said you was going to do, you have to win that battle 10 times out of 10 times. That's motivation. You know what I mean? If I told myself I'm going to run a mile a day, and then one day I'm just sore and the voice in my head is telling me to go against what I told myself, what I'm going to do, you have to win that battle. And look, like I said earlier, like you can't beat yourself up if you don't win those battles, but you can't let that become a habit. And that's what generally happens, to keep it a buck, because it's the easy way out. So on that day where you hear that voice in your head going against your word, you got to win, right? If you can't keep your word to yourself, ain't nothing you can do, I promise. The thing about motivation, I feel like inspiration is more important, right? Inspiration is abundant, right? However, I think some people draw inspiration from these grandiose events, like players, sports teams winning championships. Oh, they're inspired, I want to be a champion one day. Or these Instagram people that look a certain way. Oh, I'm inspired by them, I want to look like them one day. Ooh. Man, I think it sounds cliche, man, but you gotta draw inspiration from anything. You know what I mean? Like, you could go to a tree. Now this might sound crazy. You could pull up to a tree and just appreciate the stoicism of the tree. Like, rain, snow, sleet, hail, whatever, that tree is gonna be there. It's not gonna be an excuse unless it's struck down by lightning. You know what I mean? That tree is gonna be there. Draw inspiration from that kind of stoicism. Draw inspiration from everything around you, not just result-based things. You know what I mean? Be inspired. I don't want this video to get too drawn out, so I'm gonna wrap things up around here. If you have any questions, I'd like to sit down, talk about, elaborate on them as much as I can. There are a few others I didn't get a chance to get to, but don't worry, I will address those in coming videos pretty soon. But until then, keep working, stay inspired, stay disciplined. That's the key to success. See y'all next time.